I probably should headset it. Hold on.
Yeah, probably. Hello, Grognards. It's Ow. And I'm here with Matt, who will momentarily be on the headset. So no annoying echoes. And it is time for CHEBS, which is a pair of tits chatting hobby, endless bollocks, and stuff. So, obviously we had Adepticon, and we're going to get to that in a minute. We're going to have a look at the Golden Demon winners, amongst other things. But GW did decide to show us off a new orc today. We got an orc boy on Adepticon, and they showed off that basically they're now coming with shooters and choppers and sluggers, which seems fair enough to me. I don't see a problem with that. It makes them more versatile. You don't have to make two different models. You know, it's going to make the tactical options a little bit more free. I don't want them doing it with all the races, I don't think, you know, but for orcs, I think it makes a fair little bit of sense. So I don't really see a problem with that. So they've showed off this new orc, Knob. CHEBS and knobs, aren't you being treated? And he looks all right. I mean, yeah, looks like an orc. He's got a little squig on him. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I mean, obviously, the hype train's got a long way to go for 11th. We all know that. We all know that, you know, they're going to start showing more and more stuff as time goes on. And personally, I'm most interested in any rules changes, hopefully that they've changed things for the better, at least. But there is a good chance that they have just done a patch, and if that is the case, then it is just going to be, you know, 10.5 rather than 11. There we go. It's me and Matt. Just put us up in the corners like that. And if that is the case, then it's going to be a bit pants basically. So Matt, you there?
I am like an old toffee crisp advert.
So what did you think of GW's knob?
It looks like Father Christmas with a grey beard, which is a bit of a... No, not Father Christmas. It looks like Uncle Albert from fucking Only Fools and Horses. That's a weird choice. Like, why would you not paint it red? I mean, yeah, painting red, it will look like fucking, was it Trapjaw from He-Man? But it's not the point.
Yeah.
Not grey.
I mean, it's because I think because they're doing the goths, aren't they? You can see the checks and everything on there. I think it's an all right model. I'm not blown away by it. It's just it's a nice model. One of the good things about it is because it's been in the box set, it will likely come in whatever part work they do, and hopefully people will be able to get them fairly nice and cheap, and not have to pay 29 quid for one. You know, which would be, you know, quite handy. But again, it's not blowing me away, and with all the stuff in this new box more or less being confirmed to be remakes of older stuff, I'm not sure if it is. You know, they've shown off an intercessor. What are you going to do? Show off a vanguard? I'm going to be like, ooh, he's got a jump. You know what I mean? It doesn't seem to be anything. I think GW just run out of space, really, which is probably why they're hinging back on the nostalgia so much. But if the rules don't change, it doesn't make any difference. It's just pretty models.
Yeah, that, and it might just be a cynical attempt to try and get the attention of miserable pricks like us who are old and remember the second edition box.
GW being cynical? How dare you? How dare you, sir?
I mean, to be fair, it's not GW specific. That's just generally a corporate.
Yeah, it'd be a corporate marketing decision, wouldn't it? At the end of the day, I'd like to think that GW are aware enough to know that 10th wasn't popular. You know, it even got to the stages where all the gaming channels that had been covering it were like, "Nah, I don't care." Your Valrak came out and said, "No, it's shit. I don't like it. It's boring."
But shit, did he?
Yeah, he did. Yeah, Winters came out and said, "Yeah, I'd rather do Heresy. I don't want to do 10th." Play on Tabletop dropped it as well. You know, they've been covering other stuff. They've got a playthrough of the new StarCraft game, by the way, mate. You might want to check out at some point. Because that looks all right. I think it's way too expensive, but it looks interesting at least. So you've got this Orc Knob, and I'm like, well, yeah, great. You know, we know the game's not coming out till June. You've got a long way to go yet. well done, I guess. You know what I mean? It's just like I'm not interested yet. Let me know when something good comes along, and I'll keep an eye out. Like the new land speeder maybe, but even that I'm just like, it's just land speeder,
Yeah.
But they've shown the front and the back, so therefore 3D sculptors are going to have copies of this available in about 2.5 minutes.
Which is kind of impressive, I guess. But
It is mad how quickly they do it now. But the hype train, hasn't really sort of got into full gear yet, and we'll have to wait and see what they're doing. But for me, it's the rules. I don't know about you guys listening in, but when it comes to the models, GW are great and all, but the 3D market has got some amazing stuff as well for those who it's available to. And orcs just aren't all that special. I've seen some amazing orc STLs out there, like amazing stuff. Whether you want the old retro second edition style orcs, or whether you want more bestial looking orcs, they've got you covered. So from that perspective, GW, I know they can make nice models. Can you make decent rules? And the stuff that they said, where they said they were going to try and make the current game more narrative, has me like, oh man, are you going to fuck this up royally? Because it kind of, you don't want to piss off the competitive crowd because that's where your money is. But, this kind of hybrid rule type thing, I think, I've said it before, Matt, I'll say it again, I think you should just have 2 different rule sets, mate. So
100%.
we'll have to see what happens with that, really.
Yeah.
Elsewhere, we also had, we'll have a quick look at this, best picture I could find, the Steel Legion. Because they're like, oh, Steel Legion, yeah, you thought we'd forgotten, they're still coming. And they're like, in 2 years.
A cynical backpedal, surely not. I mean, to be fair, for GW, that is quite an unprecedented thing. They generally have such a long pipeline for getting shit done.
Mhm.
Like, I still remember back at, I can't remember if it was the 6th or 7th edition, the open day, back when we used to still get open days.
Yeah.
There was a panel of 3 dudes. I'm sure like Phil Kelly was on it, possibly Jervis Johnson and someone else. And they basically just said, it takes about 2.5 years to go from sitting down talks to actually getting items on shelf. And about halfway through that is all the tooling for models and whatnot.
Yep.
So
yeah, you got the concept stage, and I mean, obviously, because it's digital now, it might be a bit different. You don't have greens to fuck about with. Maybe you can make a model quicker. Maybe you can make a model, because these are new. But if you're just making a new Space Marine, like I said on the other video, all you got to do is just tweak the arm a little bit and change the angle on this a little bit, and just sorted, as it were.
Yeah.
But these do have copyright 2025 on them. Now, you're not allowed to fuck with that because obviously copyright is a legal thing. So this was made in 2025. What I think happened was that they thought about doing the Steel Legion and then changed their minds.
Yeah.
And then the masses went, Armageddon without the Steel Legion, you what? And now we're in this awkward position where the Steel Legion are going to arrive 2 years after the box set for Armageddon does.
Yeah, because they've got to develop them all.
So it's not a great look again for GW. Just to think that they even considered, not doing the Steel Legion for Armageddon.
It is a weird situation, isn't it? Like, you've got Armageddon coming this year, and then the signature IG for Armageddon are like, 2 years away.
Yeah,
it's like,
yeah.
what?
And it's like,
really?
And the thing is, it's like, we know they did the Death Troops of Krieg, and obviously, Death Corp of Krieg, and these are, they've been changed to be notably different from Death Corp, which is what I said. Because when they said just, paint your Death Corp Steel Legion colours, I was like, no, that's not cutting it, mate.
Sorry, what?
That's some bullshit. So, at least they have done that, but at the same time, it's just not a good look for them, they've not really covered themselves in glory here by, doing it this way either.
Yeah.
I'm not sure there's a good way out for them, because they either say, right, they're not coming, or they do this and they're late, but like, you're not You're not fooling anybody, GW, is what I'm saying, basically.
Kev said, planned on a cigarette packet.
yeah, pretty much. We can,
Yeah.
It's weird, isn't it? Because they are corporate and they're still trying to put this, oh, we're listening to you face on and everything like that. But at the end of the day, these are still 2 years away, GW. So,
yeah, it's not exactly relevant for the current release at all.
Exactly. It's a little bit of an odd one, really.
It's just like, by the way.
So I'm sure it'll look nice when they get here. But in addition, you've got 2 years there that 3D sculptors can take these concepts and do their own versions.
Yeah. I mean, it's just occurred to me, I can't think of a single release over the last year or two that's actually gone well for them.
No, it's been
like
the
AOS one was poo. Like this 40k one seems to be a bit of a hash.
Yeah.
Like 10th edition, not a great edition at all.
Saturnine didn't do well.
Yeah. Saturnine was a weird
at half
one.
price in no time.
Yeah. Like 3rd edition Heresy was received as a mixed bag, I'd say. I mean, we don't mind it, but a lot of purists.
Yeah, but I mean, at the same time, we say we don't mind it. We play it as a fairly casual level.
Yeah,
we're not really. I mean, the thing about Heresy, and this is what I was saying, and this is one of the reasons why we don't play 40k, is I mean, with Heresy, there was a hell of a lot of looking up that we were doing and learning as we went. Now imagine if that game changed every 3 to 6 months. You'd be fucked. You have no chance.
Yeah. It's one of the reasons that we like it, though.
No chance. And that's what 40k would be like. I swear. Because, we are adults and we do have things that, get in the way, and we try and play games as much as we can because it's our escape. But, we're not like tournament players that, are going to be constantly up to date with all the rules and the metas and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Did one tournament, hated it. Never done one since.
Yeah, I did. I've done 2 tournaments. One was a pleasant experience. One was a very unpleasant experience. The one that was a pleasant experience was a doubles tournament I did.
Yeah, I always prefer playing doubles, 40k anyway.
So that was nice. So yeah, we're going to see these eventually. It's going to be 2 years after Armageddon, which is it's like the Tyranids for Leviathan turning up 2 years later. It's just like, what are you doing? It's mental. But
we heard you guys been eating.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, is there any leftovers? Although they dropped the Tyranid narrative like a hot potato as well, didn't they? It's the Tyranids are on the way to Segmentum Solar, and they just seem to have disappeared, and nobody's talking about
half of their concept was all weird Neuro stuff that was crap anyway. So.
Yeah. Neuro stuff that really didn't work. And I'm wondering if they're going the same way with this kind of Orc thing, because obviously you've got the Weird Boy, you've got a warp field on the Walker. So
but that's a big mech. They have power fields anyway.
We'll have to wait and see. I would hope they wouldn't do that again. As I said, I kind of feel like they've run out of design space for the Orcs, and somebody pulled me up on it, and then I said, well, look, you've had all the flyers, you've had the trucks, the battle wagon, you've had the snaggers, you've had huge walkers, and all right, the Stomper needs a redo, so I expect that'll happen this edition.
It really does.
But you've got the mech Nauts, or whatever the hell they were called, the sort of big walkers. You've got
Morkanaut and the Gorkanaut.
Yeah, that's it. Morkanaut and the Gorkanaut. Yeah, you've got the Death Dread, medium size. You've got killer cans. That's all your walkers covered. You've got big orcs. You've got big orcs in armor. You've got little orcs. You've got teeny little orcs, and then you've got teeny little orcs and tanks.
We don't have little orcs in armor. Oh no, we do. They're killer cans technically.
Well, yeah. So yeah, I'm sort of like, I don't know where they. That's why when they did the Beast Snaggers thing, it was like, well, we know you're not going to go back and do Boar Boys, unfortunately.
It's going to be boats next. That's one thing missing from 40k or anything. It's like there's no boat.
New game, Man of Orc.
Man of Orc, Orc of War, Orc of War,
Orc of War. Yeah.
Grot of War.
So yeah, I mean, other than redoing stuff, which we've always said is what we would prefer they did anyway. Just stop making up bullshit and just redo the old models that look a little bit sus. Like the Catachins are still there with their comical Popeye arms, going, please. Like those Catachins came out, dude. Those Catachins came out when I left GW the first time. 25 years ago now.
God damn! Don't do the numbers.
What? No, mental. So yeah, we got those. It's still Legion. It's like, yep, fair enough. They're on the way. Again, GW made a bit of a hash of it, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Elsewhere, I'm just going to quickly go through the prices because I've done a video on it, but we'll mention them quickly because there's a couple of really weird ones there. Like the Defiler is 88 quid.
I love the model, but
And
not
I'm
that
like,
much.
I don't think it's worth that much.
Oh, yeah.
Yes, but Mountain, I do not think the lightning bolt symbols will make it into the Steel Legion. That's probably why they've got these shells on these ones for some reason. Because the lightning bolt will be. I mean, I remember. Don't you remember the was it the Imperial Stormtroopers plastic box had lightning bolts all over it? Didn't it? Berets and lightning bolts. Like, oh God, no, can't have that. So yeah, I mean, you know, the Defiler 88 quid. What did you think, Matt? Because I think that's absolutely mental.
It seems a bit much. If I had a Chaos Marine army, I'd still be sorely tempted to get one from like a third party because it's going to be what 65.
Yeah, but this is generally the way that I feel about GW. Is when I look at GW prices from a third party retailer, I'm like, that's how much the recommended retail should be. You know.
Yeah, exactly.
I'd never buy from GW Direct anymore. I'm getting mad if you buy from GW Direct.
What's the point? Unless it's a brand new release and they do free stuff with it that you can't get anywhere else, then yeah.
Yes, which they did do for a while, didn't they? Like little freebie promo stuff.
Yeah, second edition Heresy came with some cool free stuff, like a little objective coins and whatnot, actual metal things that they gave away that were cool. But third didn't. They probably put too much money into designing stupid turrets that no one needs.
Like, 15-20% off. Used to be 25 back in the day, but GW bumped down the discount for third party retailers. So therefore, unfortunately, it does get passed on. You know, even the ones that are charging 20% don't make a lot at all. They're relying on volume of sales.
Yeah, they just shift enough to get a profit.
Yeah, exactly.
But that other night, the Destroyer,
105 quid.
That's fucking bonkers. Like, admittedly, I'm yet to see it, and we've still not seen the back of it. So I really want to see.
Probably because they didn't want the 3D. I mean, I think there's a 3D sculpt out for it anyway already. Because all you got to do is basically take the back of a Questoris and we'll scale it down a little bit.
You know? Yeah, but they've still got to put like rocket boosters and stuff on the back. I want to see how that looks without it looking like a derpathon. So, my jury's still out on design anyway. I kind of like it, but without seeing the whole thing, obviously I don't know. And again, without seeing one in person where you can actually properly get a feel for it, you never.
I think it's all right. 105 quid is just like 10 less than a Questoris.
Yeah, but where we don't play 40k and there's no heresy rules for it, no sign of heresy rules for it, I ain't spending 105 quid. That's 10 quid less than a Questoris on a model that's supposed to be somewhere smaller than that for just a tenner less. You're taking the piss.
Looking at plastic, you get 2 armigers for 60 quid.
Yep, exactly. I expected it to be about 70 or 80 quid.
Yeah, I was in between 70 and 80 quid basically, because I looked at how much the Nightbringer was, and I was like, okay, it's going to be that kind of price. Yeah, basically, because that's what. And I expect the same from the Red Terror when that comes out, 70, 80 quid.
But that's going to be a whole.
If they try and make the Red Terror 105 quid, I'm like, what the fuck are you smoking? You massive pricks. Again. You know?
Oh, yeah. Bonkers. Fucking bonkers.
So, yeah, there's a couple of really egregious prices there. Everything else more or less fell in line. I do think the Hastari are expensive at £37 for 5. I'm like, that should be a box of 10 you pricks and like make it 42.50 or something, you know. 37 for 5 is really crap when they're not that big models, you know. It's
pretty much Terminator pricing, ain't it? They're 5s now.
Not far off. Terminators are £42.50 for 5, I think. 40k tax, you're absolutely correct. And I am intending on doing a video that shows the difference between 40k and Age of Sigmar prices because it is quite telling. But yeah, the prices again, just this time around, I was like, what? No. I mean, it's just, I mean, I'm not interested in any of these releases, but imagine that they do put stuff out. I'm just like, what the hell? I mean, I'm thinking when the Custodes come out. Oh, did you hear about the Custodes? Did you hear about the fuck up there?
Was there a bunch of shortages and whatnot?
Oh, you bet there was. Loads of third-party retailers that thought they were getting 2, got none.
Fucking 2.
Yep, they thought they were getting 2, so they sold 2. They got none. Loads of people got shortchanged. I have no idea about the bigger retailers like Wayland, Element, all that kind of stuff. But all the little guys got absolutely shafted again and had to go to their customers. And I've seen at least 6. And there's probably loads more that had to go to the customers and say, "Look, I'm sorry." Or I've seen 6 posts from people saying, like, you know, my third party has cancelled my order because they just said they're not going to get them. Like, Jesus, GW, fucking piss up and brewery comes to mind. But apparently, some kind of logistics error, which just sounds to me like GW want to hang on to them because they sold out in 2 seconds flat and they know they can sell them. But, you know, yeah. So, yeah, not good, especially with all this other stuff coming up. I mean, it is getting to the stage now with the FOMO stuff where I'm like, look, if I get it, I get it. If I don't, I don't.
Yeah.
I just don't care anymore. You know, I've got enough stuff in my hobby room, enough of a pile of shame.
So that you can't get through the door.
To keep me going forever. Yeah. I mean, it like my boxes and stuff touch the ceiling. It's ridiculous.
I remember in your old flat with your board games, you had a pile of them in one corner. It literally went from floor to ceiling. And I was like, dude.
Bigger than that now. Forget Game of Thrones. I can make a throne of games. But yeah, I don't need more stuff. GW, you know, no. I can quite happily live without buying more stuff. And any stuff, any hobby budget I do have these days tends to go on things that I perceive to get more value out of, like something like a Gundam or something like that. Although obviously you get backlogs and that kind of stuff as well. So, you know, GW at the moment, I just, with every single price announcement, I'm just like, what? No. And then they're going to try and like raise the prices again. I'm just like, how are you going to charge more than 105 for a destroyer? I mean, you know, it is just one relatively small plastic model. You know, you look at the kind of Gundams you can get for that kind of money. You won't believe the difference in amount of plastic and all that kind of stuff. So yeah, 105 really does seem like a bit of a piss take, which is why it's on the video, piss take. But let's have a look at something a bit more fun. Let's have a look at some Golden Demon winners, Matt. Because have you seen these yet?
Oh, no.
Okay, so let's have a look through these because there's a few here that I'm a little bit sort of like, feel like you were hard done by, or there's a few I'm like, how did that win compared to the others? Don't get me wrong, all of these are very nice. They're better than I can do. They all involve hundreds of hours of effort, and I understand that, but I think the judges might have got a few wrong. So let's just have a look. So we're going to start off with a single miniature. And it is... can you see it all on one screen? Not quite. Let me shrink that down.
Neil Hollis? Is that Neil Hollis?
A Space Wolf.
Nice.
Sitting on a resin poured frozen thingy. Hang on. I'm just going to try and shrink this down so we can see the whole damn model, because otherwise where's the point? Yeah, Neil Hollis. Here we go. Oh, a bit more. Little bit more. There we go. So. Oh, man. Really? Oh, well. That'll do. We can see the model and then we'll have to go down to the name afterwards. So, yeah, this is a nice Space Wolf Terminator dude. Again.
Oh, I was about to say, hold down Control and scroll your mouse wheel and it will change the scaling in the browser window.
Ah, yes, you're right. It will.
Just remember to change it back so you're not squinting at it for the next 2 weeks.
Yeah. There we go. Yeah, these old eyes will be like, can you make that bigger, sonny? There we go. Right. So this is nice. I mean, it's got a resin pour in it. It's been done very well. Don't get me wrong. But is there much of a conversion there, Matt?
I'm not familiar enough with the new Space Wolf Terminators to know. I mean, did they come with a two-handed axe? Did they have axes like that? I'm kind of like, I don't know.
I don't want to piss about on this one too much. Can you check out the GW site for me?
Yeah.
Any excuse I can get Matt to go on the GW site, make him sad.
Send me to the fucking thing.
Obviously, it'll be under the Wolf Guard.
Keep talking amongst yourselves.
Yeah. I mean, it is nice. What do you guys think? I mean, it's a lovely resin pour, and I love the kind of sturgeon type thing, and the the way it's distorted through the pour. It is nice, but I'm just wondering how much conversion work's been done there. Because if you remember, there's a lot of like old scratch builds and stuff like that in a Golden Demon. You have to do more than just nicely paint a model. And it is nice. Again, better than I can do.
On the very first picture, there is a Terminator with a two-handed axe that looks pretty much exactly the same as that.
Has it got the wolf skull on the pelt?
Yes.
Okay, so possibly not converted, just painted nice with a nice resin pour. Fair enough, don't get me wrong, as I say, it's really good. But I looked at this fire dragon, Fugan, that's it, Fugan. And again,
Nice.
obviously that's not converted either. It's very nicely painted though.
Yeah.
I prefer this to, who was it? Who was it did the UK one? Let's get our stupid faces out of the way.
How dare you?
I said our stupid faces. I'm going to single you out.
They're both unstupid.
Oh God, who was it? It was one of the big paint, not Andy Wardle, I don't think. But you know, like it was painted up ultra reflective with massive specular highlights, and it was too much.
A bit much for me, yeah.
I prefer this level that they've gone to here.
It's much more muted.
Bob Cahoon, mighty fine work. And then I love this Dawn Eagle jet bike, man. By Alexei Karalayou. Apologies if I fuck up any of your names. But I love that. That looks so cool. You know, with the I presume shield captain type dude, Stan. I mean, that's awesome. There's some good conversion work there, in my opinion.
Yep.
And I love the way he's managed to sort of obviously mount it to the base. So it looks like it's hovering, and he's got his foot on it. I don't know. I just look at this and I'm like, that's nice, but it is just nicely painted with a nice resin pour. And I didn't think it had been converted personally. Whereas I feel like, and obviously you could say that this one has got a base and everything, but this one just feels like a bit more's gone into it. I don't know. Maybe the painting let me down a little bit. It's not quite as brought up, but I kind of like the subtle style anyway. I don't know what you guys think, but yeah, I mean, not massively egregious. I didn't see how massively, special this one is, but we have to say that we're not there. We're not the judges. This is the one that I really thought like, really? This one did surprise me. So this is your winner.
What, the Unit and Kill Team?
By TD McDonald, Unit or Kill Team. And again,
that's a unit.
It's nice. Well, technically. I think didn't she come in a box? Because this is obviously Lena Maersk, whatever her name is. And like a sort of honor guard boys. And I'm like, okay, it's fairly well painted. Don't get me wrong, but there's not like a lot of contrast in there. It's okay, but then I looked at these and I went, no, how did these lose to it?
Yeah,
I mean, Lucas Wiggering, those berserkers are insanely good.
Yeah, they're nice.
And I just look at those, and then I look at this, and I'm just like, what?
Really?
I'm just surprised. As I said, I'm not going to, slag off anybody. This is better than I can do. I can't paint to this standard. But just personally, I just thought the Khorne Berserkers was so much more interesting.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I know what you mean, Kevin. Sometimes you do get this kind of oversaturated look. There is a golden demon look these days.
They all do look very muted, except for maybe the Ultramarines.
Which are obviously super, super, super bright. And again, very nicely painted. But there is a GD look with all that kind of... Is it a freehand flag? I thought it was sculpted on. Maybe that model does come. Maybe she doesn't come with a flag.
Well, that'd be something.
Off to the store, Matt.
God's sake.
Mina Lensk. I remembered the name at last. Presume you can still buy it.
No, that just found the model, like the novel.
Oh, maybe she was like a
limited run
or something.
I'm assuming she's Imperial Guard.
Yeah, she's Imperial Guard. She might have been just for
Certainly
Black
looks it.
Library Day or something like that. I've put in Mina, and it's given me 3,022 options. So fuck that, Lensk. Because it's bringing up all of Minas Tirith and everything.
Yeah, that's what it did to me. And I went, no, I'll just scroll through it instead.
Yeah, I can't see it. I mean, maybe that. Yeah, if it has been converted, then obviously, yeah, I'm not going to be hypocritical. If that work's gone into it, then that's fair enough. But I don't know. I looked at those corn berserkers, and they just instantly jumped out to me a bit more.
Right.
You know,
Yeah,
these are just nice Ultramarines, and they are nice Ultramarines. But yeah, I just kind of thought
much more dynamic to look at as well.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. But yeah, if that is converted up, maybe that's it. Yeah, could be. Large miniature vehicles. So we've got Nicholas Rubens Mortensen. Obviously, he's won shitloads of stuff. Probably got more Golden Demons than I've got painted models. Potentially. No, I've got quite a lot of painted models. But it's quite nice. Again, you've got a kind of like textured look on the armour on the Ultramarines. Ultramarine, I think there's only one. Yeah, really, really nicely painted. I don't know if you can click on these to make them. No, you can't. NMM is the way in at the moment by looks of things. Everybody uses it. I mean, that is a really nicely painted model. And I think it's a conversion as well. I don't remember that being the base model there. So that was really nice. But then we've got the Sentinel, which we're in second. And it's a nice weathering job and everything, don't get me wrong. But I don't know how you can tell me that that's better than Katerina Gorska's Nightbringer from Craft World Studios. And this isn't the only time she'll get screwed over as well. I just kind of, I mean, the base is good, don't get me wrong. It's nice and realistic, I get that. But it doesn't scream particularly well painted to me. Nicely painted.
Nightbringer is.
But they've not even done that much with the metal. And again, no insult, John. It's you've won a prize. It is a fine piece. I do love the base. The base is really nice. I think you've nailed the scale and the realism of the base beautifully there. But I just look at notes from the judges. Yeah, absolutely. I do look at the Katerina. I'm just like that is a stunning piece of work. So yeah, going on, we've got this one. I did like this. Age of Sigmar Signal Miniature. It's a Zinchian. I think this is the Stormcast Eternal. You had that bloke on the horse type thing, and he's converted the crap out of it. Obviously,
Nice.
Tabout Ram is another storied Golden Demon winner, and that's really nice. He's sculpted extra eyes on it and stuff like that. That is a really nice piece. I'm just going to do the old control thingy. Oh my god!
Too much?
Bit too much. I want to try and zoom in on it, but it's not working. Oh well. So yeah, that's really nice. Maybe not GW enough. Yeah, it all seems soulless. I think it's just there is a different level when it comes to miniature painting. I think for display, where you're expected to do all these insanely highlighted and contrasting pieces.
So that standard's been set now.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah, because I mean, if you look at the GDs throughout the years, you'll see this massive change as time goes on and paints develop and techniques develop. I mean, if you look at some of the old stuff that used to win, way back in the 90s,
nowhere near this.
Nowhere near this quality.
All.
Nowhere near. And this is a really nice piece. A really nice piece. I would have liked to have seen him do something with the display base. It seems like a bit of a shame to put that rubble there without anything else to,
Could do like a bit of resin water, like murky green.
Yeah, something like that or something. But it's a lovely conversion.
Awesome.
Loads
all three
of
of these are really good.
Loads of character. And then we've got this one from Raphael Boyon, which is like this is the elf from Curse City. With a lovely, beautiful scratch built base. I mean, that is really, really nice. Lots of little critters. I love the chipmunk on the tree. Beautiful piece. And I feel for Katerina here because that Nighthawk piece is incredible.
It is, isn't it?
But I don't know. I kind of feel like she's hard done by, but I couldn't begrudge any of the other two.
No, she's done proper nice work
It's
on
a
that.
beautiful piece of work there. It really is.
Yeah,
Again,
I mean,
plenty of
I'm glad I'm not a judge for
conversions.
this. They're all,
Yeah, mate. I would have
they're all
struggled with this one.
outstanding on their own merits, and I'm just kind of like,
Yeah.
all of them are great in different ways.
It's the heavy metal style taken to the nth degree. Yeah, kind of. I mean, it makes heavy metal quite often look crap here because the most heavy metal goes. I mean, don't get me wrong. Every single heavy metal painted miniature looks 10 times better in real life than any photo that GW can make.
Yeah, true.
I've seen them at Warhammer World, and they are mind-blowing pieces. They really are. Photos do not do them justice. They are incredible. But they are always the same style, you know, line highlight, all that kind of stuff. These are different, but it's just taking... The thing is, like, once something comes in, like non-metal metal, everybody starts using it, and everybody tries to take it to the peak, as it were. And you don't see anything else, you know, and it's the same with all this stuff. But I mean, a lot of these painters have a style as well, and you'll see that as we proceed through. I could have picked that out as one of Katarina's models without being told who it was, just by knowing that Craftworld Studio does that style, you know. But yeah, a beautiful piece, really nice. As you say, I wouldn't have envied the judges on that one. Lucas back in with a gold for the stuff from Darkwater. I don't know how he does these lovely mossy bases. Look at it, it's lovely. Not entirely convinced on the painting, like this one. The wood at the back looks a bit unpainted almost. But I don't know. I mean, it is nice.
It's another one of those entries. Just looks really drab overall.
Yeah.
I mean, yeah, it's Nurgle, but
you've got Nurgle. And again, obviously, you know, you've got things like white bands and that on the photos. We don't know exactly how it looks in real life. I remember, I think it was Andy Wardle who showed pictures of his Fugan that he'd taken and pictures that GW had taken. And it was like, whoa, like big difference between the colours. But yeah, I mean, it's nice. Again, it's a beautiful style. It's nice to see sometimes things not taken up to the, you know, the maximum highlights. But I just kind of feel like that tree just looks a little bit unfinished on the back. Could be the lighting. And then we've got Brandon in with some chameleon skinks. And yeah, they look all right. I mean, it's crazy, isn't it? Because if you look at the painting style here, yeah, you know, green scenic base, trees and all that kind of stuff. And then you look at that one up there, there's still such a massive change between the two different styles, between Raphael and Brandon's. So it is nice that, you know, people just bring their style to it, I suppose. You've got Rafael Garcia Marin's piece, ghouls, some really cool colours going on there.
It's a strange palette.
Yes, very much so. But he's pulled it off well. Turquoise and purple, and he's got that kind of almost Craftworld Studios kind of style here as well on these stones at the bottom. Yeah, it's nice. It's nice. This one, I really like, the Demon Prince, Slanesh, who went to Warhammer Age of Sigmar Large Miniature War Machine. Do you remember Azazel? The model?
Not personally.
It reminds me of an updated Azazel. So I really like
a very nice custom job.
Sorry?
That is a very nice custom job.
Yeah, really nice. Really nice. I did like that one. It's not over the top. It's not, you know, sort of trying to show off loads and loads of different stuff. And you know, it's not like any one piece of it overrides all the other pieces. It's just a nice piece.
I think is that a claw on the left arm? Because I think that's a conversion as well.
It is a claw, yeah. Those are the teeth on the claw.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Demon Prince doesn't come with that.
I didn't think he came with these wings.
No, he doesn't.
No, that's all conversion. Azazel was a model that, if I remember correctly, came with feathered wings way back in the day, like 3rd edition.
Right.
I think it was a fantasy model only. You know the oh god, what was it? Storm of Chaos, I think it was called. I think he came out for that campaign. This
I
guy's
think
going
that
to
was
turn
when I
up.
was on a break.
This guy's going to turn up more than once. The maggot thingy from again Darkwater. That is really cool.
It's a proper nice resin job.
Yeah,
It's very, very good.
I do really like that. Nice colours on the slug thing.
It's a nice balance as well.
Yeah, it is all balanced quite. There's some different textures going on as well. I mean, if you look at the skin of the slug, it's very different from the paint job on the robes. You've got the OSL there. OSL's maybe a little bit strong for me in that kind of lighting area. But that's very nice. I can't comment on how much conversion he's done to it because I don't remember the original model. And then we've got the vulture, orc vulture thingy, which again, yeah, looks perfectly nice. Lovely base. Wish I could do bases like that. Really good job. Are those the wings that got used on the Demon Prince?
No.
No, they're not.
No.
He's got claws on them. So, yep, that's really cool. Horus Heresy. It won gold. It might be the worst photo I've ever seen of a miniature by GW.
You really can't see a lot of detail
You
at all.
can't see anything. I'm like, what the hell? Like, you could have cropped out the wings. The wings don't look all that special, if I'm being honest, and focused on the body. Or at least given us the option. Muhammad 8 Ahmedi. I believe that he's won other stuff as well. Again, it's that teal-purple combo.
Did a good job.
Does look nice. But again, I'm not... This is the resin one, isn't it? This isn't the plastic one.
I think so.
Yeah. I feel like, assuming that they have got it right, and this does deserve the gold, I've got the feeling that photo is not doing it justice at all. Then you've got a simple Night Lord doing his best impression of a Ultramarine.
Ultramarine. Yeah, bit bright.
Yeah, bit bright. But again, nicely painted. He's gone for that super clean, saturated kind of high blended look. I'm not a fan personally. I like my Marines to look like they've been in a battle and through a war. But yeah, that's nice. And then you've got Magnus the Red. Interesting piece. I kind of feel like they should have done more with the base. The base feels very sort of like, I don't know if they plan to have something down here.
Yeah, there's a lot of drab stuff this year.
Bit of an odd one. There's some freehand on the horns that looks quite nice. But again, the non-metal, you've got some nice
it's fucking good
reflections and stuff like that, which are all pretty good. It's a nice piece. Old World. This was lovely.
That is
we'll
awesome.
Talk about a simple piece. The way you've got those waves smashing up on that rock, and the way the rock's been painted, the texture behind it, it looks like he's just taken a real stone. Or she.
Yeah.
No, Lucas Zaba.
It reminds me of an old computer game cover.
Yeah, definitely.
Like from the 80s, like late 80s.
Yeah. Really nice. Lovely blending on the tabard armor and the shield and everything. Good use of different textures.
That is awesome.
No real notes. Lovely. I think I would like the metal to look a bit more like metal, though. That's the only thing I would say. Not saying that the new metal doesn't, the non-metal metal doesn't look good, because all the textures look good, but it doesn't read quite as metal to me. But the water, when are you two going to finish the 2nd edition retrospective? I Need My Fix. We were up to Space Wolves, weren't we, Kevin? We just need to lock down Carl, basically.
Yeah.
Potentially physically. You know, and grab him and get him sat down with the 2nd edition Codex. But we will carry it on. I think we've done 4 or 5 of them. Yeah, we'll get back on that. I'll have a word with Carl, see if we can get him. The problem is, Carl works stupid hours. It's really hard to get him in the evenings.
Yeah, and he's in bed early like an old person.
He is in bed early like an old person, even though he's younger than us.
Like, Carl, it's 7 in the evening, buddy. And he's like, no, I'm in bed.
Yeah,
like,
exactly. Like, dude, seriously. Magnus Ilsen's given us this Dwarf Slayer. I think that's really nice. I like that.
The funny thing is, I looked at that and I was like, how the fuck is that nicer than the other two? Like,
then did you catch the reflection in the bottom?
In the axe, yeah.
Yeah, it's just really nice.
I was like, oh.
I think I would have taken the base up a little bit further. You've got all this extreme highlighting here, and then the base just looks very flat in comparison. I think I would have put maybe a few more bits of interest, maybe a bit of moss and stuff like that, just to bring it up a little bit. But the painting on the model itself is absolutely stunning, really nice. And then I really like this piece by Oliver Pratt as well. Just a nice, simple little
full of character. That one, it's good.
dude. Yeah, loads of character, funky shoes.
Yep.
I mean that's got to be a scratch build, hasn't it? More or less.
No idea.
I can't even think what that model comes from.
I've not. Again, no idea. It's not my bag at all. So I've no idea. I don't know. That's almost like the front door. It's almost like the front door to Bag End. Just at the door out.
I think the thing I really like about these is they're all quite subdued palette wise.
Yeah.
There's no mad, this yellow, and even this yellow is a very saturated kind of almost orange to brown ochre rather than a really, really bright yellow.
Yeah.
So I think they're really nice.
Which I think suits the old world.
Because people like painting stuff that's even smaller. Again, just a nice piece. Nice piece. Again, non-metal. Lovely. Just, not much more to say really. Same here, but gold. And then just this one here. And these faces are exceedingly small and exceedingly hard to paint. So well done, everybody. Nathan Cartwright, Daniel Jolene, lovely. I think Katerina might have been the only girl to walk away with some. This one's got a spider on it, so automatically it wins.
For you, maybe.
Azazel I said that was Azazel. 152. Yeah, lovely. Really, really well done. It's weird from these because obviously a lot of these names are names that crop up over and over again. It's like I kind of want them to surprise me, and they often don't. And it's a nice piece, but I don't feel like you've stretched yourself. Which, as I say, comes a little bit hypocritical because I'm nowhere near this good a painter. But yeah, it's a nice piece. This one, I swear, got entered. I thought I'd seen this before, something very similar to it, Matt.
What, the York and the Gobbo?
No, the Nurgle lads down below.
No. Maybe.
I presume there's nothing to stop you from entering in multiple countries if you can afford the plane fare. But I kind of feel like I've seen that at Essen or something. Or something very similar to it. And then you've got Chaos Dwarfs down below. None of that Age of Sigmar nonsense. Actual Chaos Dwarfs. Which are ultra saturated high, it's like, that Flame On miniatures. Also, Mike Stokasa, how does it feel to see every single one of your beloved franchises go up in flames? But yeah, like that Flame On guy, does the most unbelievable smooth blends. It's incredibly just glazes and glazes and glazes and glazes. But what you end up with is this very kind of almost plasticky kind of paint job. And these kind of lean towards that way, in that that's not really how light would react on these things. It's a very stylized version of it.
Yeah.
And that seems to be the style that's in at the moment. I love this Necromunda piece.
That is awesome.
I thought that was so cool. Again, bags of character, tells a little story. Tells a little story. I like it. Resident Evil 4 homage, I presume. Got some fine things on sale here, stranger.
Yeah. Out comes the coat.
Yep. Love the little poster on the back and the graffiti and everything. Just goes to show you don't need to have this great big, amazing piece. Well done there, Daniel, Julian. I can see you definitely got another Golden Demon in there as well. I remember. Really cool. Really cool. If I had to say anything about it, I would say this foreground, maybe the contrast between the paint style on the Ganger and the background is maybe a little bit jarring, but beautiful. So cool. Carl Jericho and Scabs. Nice. Very clean weathering. Nice rust work.
It's nice one.
Again, it's got that kind of, this is what I'm talking about, this Flame On style where it's just very almost I don't want to say cartoony, but that's kind of the thing that it makes me think of. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But it is nice.
It's
Don't get me wrong.
like comic-y looking.
Yeah, comic-y. That's a good word for it. Yeah, comic looking. This piece I think was hard done by Alessandro Marinoni.
Oh,
Sorry.
that's great.
I think that is absolutely stunning. He's done a lot of conversion work on that.
Agreed.
I was a little bit disappointed to not see that. That's one that I would like a note on to see why he didn't do better. I mean, you can even go down to the frame, and the frame is like half of the Inquisition symbol. You see that on the window.
Yeah.
Really well done. I wonder if maybe just the lack of something at the top here is maybe what let it down a little bit. Maybe put something on the drape, as it were. But I love that piece. Again, so much character in it, the pose and everything.
I would have thought that the blend at the top of the drape kind of speaks for itself. I think he's fine to leave it.
So yeah, a little bit surprised in that one. I thought that was really, really nice. Epic. That's bonkers. That's an epic Thunderhawk.
They've even opened the doors. They've got little
submarines jumping out. I'm like, what? No, that's brilliant.
I didn't even know those doors opened.
I don't think they do. I think he might have cut
I'm sitting there looking at my Thunderhawk now, going, really?
Yeah, it does look like an 18th century painting of an apple. You're right. Yeah. I don't know if those doors do open. Yeah, crazy stuff there. Really nice. That's patience that I don't have, mate. Well done, Ivan. Very good. Crazy Ivan. See what I did there? These towers are also really nice as well, man. I really like that.
Yeah, I've got to say, on the sprue, those side doors are closed.
Yeah, I thought so. So he's cut them out because obviously it's two halves of the Thunderhawk, so you can just cut straight through it and then bent them down and glue them in. Amazing.
Complete with a little rim inside the door and everything. That's mad.
So yeah, lovely work. I really like these towers as well. I think they're really done well.
It's a bit of a random one. I'm kind of like, you kind of gone for like an abstract background and then just slapped it like a tiger shark and a barracuda. Hey, don't get me wrong, the paint on the ships is awesome, but I'm kind of like, what is this supposed to be? I guess overall?
It's supposed to be like a giant tower city, and these are landing platforms. Think like Cloud City in Star Wars. Oh my god! If you look, there's actually crew down below the bottom of the. It's not a manta.
Tiger shark.
Tiger shark.
That's tiger shark. Yeah.
Oh, that's mental, mate. They must be tiny. Pablo Lopez Gemini is also crazy. Now this is John Muggiotto's epic Space Wolf Land Raider. I think this is the same guy that did the Sentinel.
It's a Spartan.
Oh, Spartan. I think it's
too long to be Land Raider.
Sentinel. It is. I recognise his style. Yeah.
Land Raider estate.
Yeah. I don't know how many entries they had. What I will say is that though this is nice, and again, I could tell it was him because of the style. There is a big jump in quality between those two, and that is just mental. The Thunderhawk. This one by David Aruba. Dragon, again, those colours coming through, the purples and the reds, big this year. I think this is scratch built. I don't think that's the one from the plastic box set. Obviously, that's the Necromancer model. There's some skellies and everything knocking about. I'm not sure it jumps out to me. Everything kind of blends into itself a little bit.
It does. I mean, it's nice that the more you look at it, the more there's more stuff to see. But not, like you said, again, it all looks kind of drab. I don't know if it's that lighting or photography
maybe
or what.
It's the lighting or photography. Yeah, I loved these two pieces. This piece by Andy Wardle is sensational.
It is.
I love that. That is so well executed. Sorry.
Is that like a spirit wolf?
Every team doesn't paint using these wild neon color palettes. Yeah, exactly. Yeah. I'm dead. You spoiled it. I was going to try and get Matt to guess the Slayer sword. It's from the Soul Blight Sepulchral Terrain set. Oh, right, okay. I didn't think it was. Okay, cool. But yeah, I love this piece by Andy Wardle. Really, really nice. Love it. It's almost like a painting, you know, like a 2D painting, I mean, almost. Loads of lovely conversion work. Brilliant. Yeah, love it. Tells a story. Wonderful colour palette. I did also really like this this diorama piece here as well. Not only have you got the spire in the door, like in the background, which is quite cool, and all the painting's really nicely done. But you've also got like this story going on here. Imperial Guard with the James to the cold symbol being blammed by the Commissar. And if you zoom in on, I think it was a System of Battle being converted up to be an Inquisitor, but if you zoom in, like her hands are all weird. I think like maybe she's used a psychic power, I think, or that or she's turning into a gene stealer herself. But yeah, that was really nice. I did very much like that one again as well. Yeah, good stuff there in the diorama, but yeah, well, we'll wait till we get to the end. Duel, I thought this was very nice. Very nice. Good. Good. Both color theory here, with the blending between the purple and the red, especially like this arm being red, this arm going towards the cooler purple. Obviously, you've got the flame from the axe here. I wish we could see the Space Wolf a bit better.
Yeah, I'm having a good squint at that. I'm like, I don't know.
Yeah, that is really nice. Really, really nice. I don't know if there's conversion work on the rings as well. So that's really nice by Borgia Calvo, Burton DeLee. My fucking Jesus.
Apologies for any butchery.
Yeah, exactly, innit? Pierre Mabouf goes, this is the Cold One versus High Elf, which is really quite nice. Again, a bit too much of that kind of saturated non-metal metal is one of those things where
new metal,
yeah. Non-metal metal is one of those things where I feel like if you don't get it absolutely spot on,
it looks a bit garish.
That's just basically how I feel about it.
That's me with all my painting skill.
Yeah, exactly. Well, no, both of us. As I said, I've freely admitted that. But I don't do non-metal because I can't pull it off. You know what I mean? I just cheat and use the army painted metal paints because I love them. And I haven't got time for this. I haven't got time to put 100 hours into one piece. I did also like this Rat Lord versus, you know, wrecking this Stormcast's ride. Again, lovely little story there.
It's good. But again, they both look quite drab.
Yes, yeah, quite, yeah. I mean, this one's got a really, really lovely mossy base as well, which I think helps it out a lot. But yeah, quite subdued.
Yeah.
A long way away from the second edition. Do you want to feel sick? Let's have a look at Youngbloods 15 and under. Talk about non-metal metal.
Snapping all my brushes in half right now.
He'll have it nailed in a few days. A few years. Although I am a little bit... I did notice that Dante's got this kind of suspicious white substance around his lip. Obviously, he's a milk drinker. That's all it is. Got milk.
He's ready, Brick.
But yeah, disgusting talent. And again here, Zach, and this one was a bit weird by Niam or Niam, and I was like, but the more I looked at it, the more I was like, that's actually kind of amazing painting. You look at it and you think it looks kind of like clumsy and stuff, but then you kind of look at it again, and again it's got that kind of impressionist oil painting kind of approach to it. And I think the technique needs refining, but it's nice to see something different. So I did quite like that one. So I think needs refining. I think he needs to work on his art, but I like the fact that he's doing something quite different there. Here's the open competition. That is just amazing.
Hey,
I just love that by Alfonso.
That's one of the nicest bases I've ever seen.
It's got to be a scratch build.
I'm going to go and snap my eyes off.
Just go. What you need to do is you need to poke your paintbrushes in your eyes and then snap them.
Snap them off of my eye sockets.
Yeah.
Kill two eyes with one stone.
Yeah, it's lovely. Another one of the I told you it was another maggoty slug.
Yeah.
not quite as nice as the other one. Very again, very subdued color palette, as you say, and very how do I put it? Like the color theory, because obviously you've got purple and yellow through to green, but it's all very subdued and, like you say, a bit drab and samey again. All falls into itself. Nothing stands out. I would have been tempted to pick out a few more bits in a different spot color. And then this really nice Imperial Fist that I thought was quite cool, especially using, which I thought was quite clever, in Legion Imperialis miniatures to represent the smaller ones in the background. See that?
It's an old trick that they used in White Dwarf.
I think that I thought that was quite clever. I like that.
I saw that back in the day. I think they had a diorama and it had a bunch of like 40k Marines up on like a cliff, and you were kind of looking over them down at like a patrol or a column, and they'd used like epic land raiders and troops and stuff to look like they were in the distance.
Yeah. Oh right. Yeah, you're right. I remember that actually. I think that the only thing that lets that down is the background, personally. But I appreciate the fact that
it looks great.
It's hand painted, and he hasn't just used AI like that other chap did. So fair play.
But like, yeah, and it's great. The only criticism I've got is that Imperial Fist logo on the shoulder looks a bit small. But I think that's down to personal taste more than anything. Like, I think that's great.
I don't know. Maybe it was only transferred at the time, or maybe it's free-handed. Probably free-handed, knowing him.
Maybe.
But yeah, I think just bringing up this background piece would have really elevated that. But yeah, great. So, what do you think on the Slayer sword, or have you already looked?
I think it was probably the dragon on the bit of terrain.
You'd be absolutely right. It's the dragon on a piece of terrain. Do you agree with that, Matt? Do you think there's anything better than that should have won the Slayer sword? I mean, there's sort of like eye-catching and biggest piece, the most impressive piece, and all that kind of thing. But do you think that was the best piece there?
I don't think I'm in a position to judge.
I'm just asking your opinion. Because I personally look at this and I think it's very nice, but I think unless the photo's not doing it any favours, and there is some lovely, got some specular lights up here and stuff like that, I just feel like this area here in the middle where the rider is just disappears. I just, especially if you look at like the tab, the barding underneath that, and it all just disappears into a murky mess of browns and greys. And I think they do give us different angles, so we can have a better look. But yeah, I don't know.
It could do with a few more colours standing out. But again, I think that's just my general criticism of most of these entries this year. They all just look really kind of just muted and drab. So again, don't know if it's the lighting or what.
I mean, it's not horrible by any means, but I don't think it's all painted to the same standard. Like, I look at this is beautiful work all over here. And then I look at this here in the middle, the brown bit, the tabarding, and I'm just like, wow, it just doesn't look like it's painted to the same standard. And I look at the wings and like they're nice, but they kind of look kind of airbrushy. And I don't know, I just kind of feel like there might have been better there, but I wasn't there. I didn't see it in real life. But whatever way you look at it, there's some amazing stuff there. It is lovely to see, a few different styles as well. Not everything, not everything is this ultra saturated look. There are a few things that are more subdued. I remember from the Essen one, there was this guy who did some heresy stuff that I loved because he barely used any highlighting or line highlighting at all, and it was all very, very subtle texturing on the armor and stuff like that. I mean, I don't know. I don't think it would have been my pick. I'd have to really have a look at them all and everything. I mean, all of them have got things that. I mean, that Azazel. That Azazel is probably the only piece that I can't pick a fault with.
The Demon Prince.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think I can actually pick a fault. I mean, maybe that's because it's not as ambitious as some of the others. It's fairly simple, as we said. Nothing overwhelms anything else.
Well, you say it's fairly simple, but it's still converted quite well.
Oh, it's beautifully converted, you know. But I'm just saying the execution that it's gone for. You know, you've got the pink of the frame, which obviously draws the eyes. You've got the nice white on the wings, which obviously like as hazel, and then the base isn't going over the top.
No,
You know,
it's got a good range of colours through it,
yeah,
which all stand out. It's proper nicely done.
doesn't look fake. Looks nice, and you know, I don't know. I'm just these are nice and subtle, but he needs to bring up. I think he just needs to bring certain bits up a bit more to catch the eye. That capturing that's just absolutely stunning. The colours involved in that and pulling that off, I just have no words. Yeah, I don't know if I necessarily agree with the Slayer sword this time around, but hey, who am I to judge? Because at the end of the day, as I said, I can't paint that bloody well. Matt, I'm going to talk about your favourite codex. It's not the 5th edition Tau Codex, because we didn't get a 5th edition Tau Codex.
We didn't get a 5th edition Codex. That was one thing that made the 6th edition one so good to get.
You got a 6th one instead. So we're going to have a look at that. No. Our secret source for the architect. Right. I wanted to get rid of all this crap, but it doesn't look like I can. It's got my way. Fit to page. Ooh. There we go. Right. Let's see what that looks like. Right. There we go. Okay. Yep. So that's a bit better. So Matt, I mean, this is your show, dude. Why don't you take us through this Tau Codex as we go through it? Anything in particular you want to pick out, and just let me know.
Easy. Well, I mean,
3 hours later.
Yeah, I got back into 40k probably in the mid to late 2000s after starting at the beginning of the 90s, and then just sort of drifting away from it as my local chums that played went off to uni and stuff, and I had no one to play with. So I still kept up with like White Dwarf and things like that. I still kept my subscription from the local newsagent, but when it came to actual games and buying stuff, it all kind of fell by the wayside in favor of more computer gaming and actually going out to nightclubs and stuff, because I was old enough to do that then.
Discovered girls. It's like, ooh, plastic
yeah.
can wait. And then later you realise you can have both, and you're like, oh.
Well, not many girls discovered me, but I discovered plenty of them. I mean, it turned out fine in the end. And then I kind of got back into 40k when I bumped into our bro Mike, who was a drumming in a friend's band. And Tau, I picked them up because they were new to me at the time, and they weren't around when I'd first gotten into 40k, or they weren't around when I'd drifted out of 40k. So they were just fancy and new. So I picked them up. I ended up getting like a 4th edition Codex and a bunch of models and stuff, and went up against Mike's Space Wolves, I think, a few times around his house, with varying degrees of success, depending on, of course, on how far away from me they were at the time.
So it was 6th when the Riptide came in then? Jesus, is that old?
Yep. Yeah.
Wow.
It is that old. And yeah, so when the 6th edition Codex came out, it was absolutely awesome. It was great. Like, I still remember going up to Warhammer World to get it on like release day now, I think it was, and driving back with Mike and looking through it in the passenger seat of his crazy Honda Civic spaceship that he had back then, before he crashed into a van and rolled the van. Yeah, it's just a great codex. Like, as you can see in the pictures that I chucked you, the special edition collector's edition codex, I've never seen another one like it. Like, it came in, it had like a sort of off-white, almost.
Was this when they were doing all the tokens and bits with it? Like, it was a box that opened out into, it wasn't just a book, was it?
Yeah.
It was like,
yeah, most of them got that treatment. This one didn't, but it got a different kind of treatment instead. So it came in like an off-white, pale grey sort of colour, with like a diagram of a riptide on the front, and then it had like a broadside on the back, and it was kind of like embossed with like a hex pattern. And it went into a plastic slipcase that had the 2 diagrams from the front cover in colour instead on it. And I've never ever seen GW do anything like it with any other codexes, like a clear plastic slipcase and stuff. It was just awesome. Um, and the Codex itself was a proper nice surprise because I'd been struggling through games of fifth with like a fourth edition Codex,
Yeah, yeah. I mean,
and
the tower was so out of date at this stage, and they got a big old
yeah,
update.
yeah, some of the war gear didn't even do anything. It was like by the time fifth edition rolled around, or even sixth, like marker lights had lost like a third of their functionality because they no longer helped with pinning tests, and they no longer did anything for targeting priority because targeting priority stopped being a thing.
Oh, geez.
Like, it didn't even exist anymore. Um, yeah, and they lost a bunch of equipment, but they gained a bunch more as well. So, like the old fourth edition Codex was from 2006.
And a lot of work was done with the lore in this as well, wasn't it? Because obviously you had third and
Yeah,
fourth with the first two. Because the third was the first time the tower even turned up.
that's right.
The fourth they didn't bolt on a great deal, but when they got to the sixth, because it had been
So
5 years in between codexes nearly by that point,
eight.
they really went for it. You know,
Yeah,
they
it
really
was 7 years.
updated it with all the expansions.
7 years between codexes. We missed out a whole edition. But yeah, and then there was like I think there was like the third sphere expansion that they had to add in and a bunch of other stuff.
Mm-hmm.
And like the old 2006 Codex was almost entirely in black and white as they were back then,
Yeah,
with just like a color bit for paint for like
correct. Yeah.
miniatures and stuff. That was 64 pages, and the sixth edition one was 104. So it was a substantially bigger book and hardback rather than the old paperback ones.
Mm-hmm.
And one thing I didn't realize until I actually looked into it properly today was that Jeremy Vitok was my bro for sixth edition, because not only did he do the Dark Angels Codex that I really enjoyed and it introduced a whole load of good stuff, he also did this one
Oh,
for
okay.
sixth, and I didn't know that.
No, I didn't know that.
So yeah, the fourth edition one was actually written by Andy Hoare, which was
That's
a
right.
nice
Yeah.
surprise.
Who I think is currently in charge of specialist games.
Yeah, he was. So he should still be. I think it's not like I know him enough to ask him, but I'm glad he is because he's done some damn good work since he was in charge of that. So yeah, he's done great. Yeah, and then I just kind of did like a breakdown. So the fourth edition Codex had one page of an intro, and the second page was the start work. The sixth edition one had one page of intro as well, and then 2 to 3 pages of artwork. And then when it came to like historic lore, the fourth edition had 18 pages, including a page on their language, which I thought was really impressive.
Yeah, I
so
remember that one because you could go. They printed stuff in White Dwarf that you could go and translate.
Yes, that's right. And also the writing on the spine of the book was all in Tau as well. So obviously you knew what it said because it said Tau Empire. But
and back
it was all
then they
written
were
in
Tau, T-A-U, not T''AU.
yeah,
because
that's what
obviously
I
you
had
can't
to.
copyright Tau because it's a letter of the Greek alphabet.
Yeah. But no, it was they definitely used to put the effort in. I think it must have been the third edition one that mentioned their numeracy and stuff like that, because they used to count up to 8. Because all their numerical stuff, because they've only got 4 digits on each hand,
Exactly.
so all their numbers stopped at 8.
A lot of
which
thought
is
was
why,
put into the codexes back then, especially when they were creating something new.
yeah, and I think that's mostly down to Andy Chambers and Jervis Johnson. Like, I'm sorry if I'm doing anyone else a disservice, because obviously I don't know who was actively involved in that and how much they did, but that was the impression that I got. And that's why their heaviest
Well,
unit at the
Chambers
time,
was,
the
I think he was
broadside,
head of 40k back then.
I think he was.
Yeah.
That's why it was decent. But yeah, and that's why their heaviest unit, which was the broadside, stopped at 88, which is obviously a reference to the flak 88 from World War II.
Oh, and
as an
not
artillery piece.
not Heil Hitler.
No,
Just
not
checking,
that.
Just checking.
Yeah, so they topped out at 88, but then obviously when they brought out the broadside, they were kind of like, yeah, we need to get a little bit more loose with how things work now, otherwise we're not going to make as much money, and they bumped it up to 104. Although when it comes to the Tau naming convention, the first number was usually the class of the suit, and then the second number was the variant or the role. So the 88, because the broadside was originally based on the crisis suit, they were both XV8, and then the other one, the broadside, got an extra 8 on it for the role that it had, which was like fire support. So that was all cool stuff. Yeah, but the 6th edition one had 24 pages of lore instead of 18, and then 2 on the language, which was good because they used to put loads of effort into the background.
And back then they weren't copy and pasting a load of stuff. Like
no,
there was a stage, I think it was between sort of 6th up to maybe 8th, where it was
Yep.
literally copy pasted with a couple of extra sentences. It was awful.
Yeah. Yep. I remember that. So they both had 2 pages of like military overview when it came to talking about hunter cadres and stuff like that.
Hmm.
And then the 4th one had 7 pages of armory when it like showcased the war gear and what everything did with
Yeah,
lots
I
of
always used to
descriptions and
love that
stuff.
part of the book, man.
Yeah.
It was so
The 6th
cool.
edition one had 9 pages, so it had some extra because we got more stuff
Hmm.
and it was new. And at this point, it's probably best to point out that I did a quick gander at the 10th edition one. I held my nose and did it from 2024, and it may have 136 pages, so it's over twice as big as the 4th edition Codex. But there was like no intro to it. There was just a couple of pages of like a story instead. There was 38 pages of history because they had to put in a few more sphere expansions to
Hmm.
cover all the lore and stuff. There was kind of 5 pages of military overview, which was a nice surprise. And then their armory was 2 pages, and one was suits and one was drones. There was nothing to do with any of the weapons whatsoever.
Mm. Which is what
And
I
I was,
really miss. I mean, in the 2nd edition, I loved the War Gear book.
yep,
I just loved
yeah,
all this text about how these weapons worked. I was like, I
yep,
remember
yep.
reading about how the Harlequin's kiss worked, and I was just like, that is amazing. Like it
Yeah,
just liquefies them. It's just so cool.
with a
Um,
monofilament wire, that's going to suck
mm,
being in that tank.
yeah, exactly.
Um,
That's gonna.
yeah, yeah. But the unit count increased as well. So, like in 4th edition, there was 19 units in total. So you had like 5 HQ, including the 3 named guys.
Hmm.
You had like 2 elites, 2 troops, 4 fast attack, and 4 heavy support, and that was kind of it. And then it got bumped up a fair bit in 6th edition, and it went up from 19 to 25. So we ended up with like 9 HQs, 3 elites, 2 troops, 6 fast attack, and 4 heavy support still.
Hmm.
So not a massive increase for heavy support, like it was pretty much the same. But everything across the board got roughly 20% cheaper and more killy and survivable
Well, yeah,
in
take
the
more
6th
models, of
edition
course.
Codex. Yeah, exactly. And that was another thing that struck me, like where I was reading through the 4th edition Codex. Um, it mentions a whole bunch of stuff that's not been in Core 40k for a while, like the strategy ratings and centuries and
Oh, I
unit
remember those.
XP. Yeah,
Yeah.
unit XP if you're doing a campaign
Hmm.
and stuff. And I was just like, this was all a thing.
It's
Like
amazing.
40k
Yeah.
is
It's like
yeah.
biomorphs in Tyranids, man. Like you can make your own Tyranid.
Yes.
That's
Yeah, yeah.
amazing. And now you just take a Tyranid.
Yeah. Building
Yay.
it was great. And then they kind of brought it back for like 8th, I think it was. They kind of topped the biomorph thing again. And I was like, oh good, you've done well. And then obviously for 10th, it was just like, oh no, it's oh dear. It's gone back to being a Cruddus job again. So they took out all the customizability. It sucked. But yeah, the 6th edition Codex was great. So we kind of went
This
from
is the one where everything's designed to go in a Orca, yeah?
yeah. It still had a nice logistical sensibility to it.
Mm.
So every Tau unit that you could put onto the table either would fit into an Orca or a Manta or could fly itself.
Yeah.
So all the tanks were skimmers, off they go. All of the suits that were, the Riptide that was too big to fit into a transport could still fly because it had a jetpack.
Hmm. Yeah. They weren't just inventing new units for the sake of it.
No, that came in 7th edition. So, I mean, we got 2 new flyers in this one, which was kind of cool, but they looked shit. Like when you've got the Forge World ones, which are nice delta wings, and they look
Definitely.
great,
And you've got these
absolutely great.
stupid sort of T-shaped things. Yeah.
Yeah,
Not the
I
same.
don't know
Not the same.
what was going on with these at all. They sort of looked at a piranha and went, "We can sort of work with that," and the best thing about them was that they had actual little flaps up in the fuselage that hinged upwards with seeker missiles in them. You could literally open up little flaps on them, and I was like, "That's fucking cool." But apart from that, the design was not great for the Razor Shark or the Sun Shark. Like, it's nice to have new stuff, but like, it's about the only time I wish they just did Forge World stuff in plastic instead.
Mm. Which is obviously what we're
but
getting now anyway. So you probably
but
maybe in the
that
new
was
edition you will get all those lovely tiger sharks and plastics because they've already done from Aeronautica Imperialis. I've only got to bigging them up.
Yeah, I got them. No, they're nice.
Yeah,
very good. As we saw for Golden Demon,
indeed.
they're both at the tail core box.
Don't think you're going to get a plastic manta though, unfortunately.
No, I don't think so either. I'm still on the fence about ever owning one of those. Like, what am I going to do with it? Put it on a shelf? Have I got a shelf big enough?
You haven't got a shelf big enough.
Yeah, do I want to use it for any games? No, because it's going to be a pain in the ass to transport around, and I don't want it getting busted. But yeah, so let me see. Yeah, so some war gear got improved for sixth.
Is it a Tau language culture? Yeah.
That's also not in the 10th edition Codex anywhere at all.
How lame.
Nothing to do with the language whatsoever.
Well, the thing is, the new Codex is just nothing but data sheets, mate. That's the problem.
Yeah, it's crap. I've always said, like, look, just take out the fucking combat patrol stuff. I don't give a shit about any of that stuff. Make those a free PDF, and then just put the stuff back into codexes that people actually want to see, that made them interested in the damn army in the first place.
Yeah,
and that's the details about the race. You know, it sucks. So drone controllers and marker lights and stuff got adjusted for the new edition, so they did slightly different things. And other stuff got completely binned, like the advanced stabilization system. And I was secretly happy to see that go, because it abbreviated down to ARS. If you're an American, it's like ASS. Yeah, my broadside has an ARS, and it's like, really. And the injection system and stuff just went completely. But back and forth, you could eject a pilot from a battle suit if they were a single suit unit, like a commander.
Oh, really?
And then they were just left like a dude on the battlefield, just and then suddenly you're like,
going, please don't blame me.
Yeah, we need to rescue this guy, and stuff like that's really cool, because it can progress a game. Like,
well, it adds narrative, man. There's so little narrative in the games these days. I love the idea that something weird could happen, and then suddenly the aim of the game changes.
Yeah, exactly.
That sounds like a great idea. Imagine your commander's transport gets destroyed. Suddenly, your mission becomes get the commander off the battlefield safe.
Exactly. It's like, slay the warlords. I blew up his suit. I got you. Unfortunately, my warlord spent 20 points on an ejection system, and now he's running around over there in his pants. In his pants with like a pulse pistol. And then suddenly your dudes are like, shit, get that devilfish over to him quick. And your opponent's like, he's going down. And then it just makes the game much more fluid and exciting. We don't get any of that now. Now 40k is just like, go and stand on those circles. Delete those dudes off those circles. But yeah. And a bunch of other weapons got introduced and changed and stuff. So ion weapons gained an overcharge, which they didn't have before. The cyclic ion blaster unfortunately went from strength 3 with 5 shots rending to having strength 7 base with 3 shots, or strength 8 and a blast, which sounds like an improvement, but I'm kind of one of those people that thinks, yeah, you made a weapon more killy, but that's not kind of what it was for in the first place. And by making things more killy, in future editions, they stopped the cyclic ion blaster from being special issue. So it kind of went from being commander only to crisis suit whoever. And then people were just like, lol, I brought a team of crisis suits, and all they've got is 3 lots of ion blasters each. Yeah, it's just like, you wanker. Can you not? Because originally it was kind of like for taking out loads of lightly armored people, which is why it was only kind of like AP4. But 5 shots.
Everything had its own function back then, its own niche.
Yeah.
Now every army pretty much does what every other army does, because there's so many units now that you can build an army of a certain type, and it'll just do what another army does.
Yeah, which
they've even got the same rules. They're just called different things.
Yep, they've lost like a whole chunk of definition, and it makes things unique, just for the point of selling more models and making everything more bland so it appeals to more people. It's irritating. It's what it is. What else happened? So burst cannons got an extra attack in 6th, which was nice. So they went from 3 shots to 4. Fusion blasters got a bump in range by 33%. They went from 12 inches to 18. Given that they're strength 8 AP1 melters, that's quite good. Kroot gained sniper rounds. Neutron blasters from Vespid also increased their range by 33%. Carbines got an extra shot, so they became 2 shots. SMS, like missile launchers, got 25% range hike. Rail rifles, which did exist in fourth, they were Pathfinder only. They lost pinning, but they gained 2 AP and went from AP 3 to 1, which was sort of a trade-off, sort of not. One thing I did notice that fourth edition had more stuff going for it if you wanted to play differently to try and pin units. Like Markolites gave -1 leadership to pinning tests for the enemy if you pinned them with it.
But obviously that had gone by then, so
yeah, and so they took that away from Markolites, and they took pinning away from rail rifles, which is weird because it's the equivalent of a sniper rifle. It's going to pin people, and they just made them AP1 instead, which I wasn't overly
I'm just
impressed
looking at all
with.
these bestiary, and there's so much text about the thing, and
There's
now
tons of stuff.
you just get a data sheet.
Yep,
and it's got like
that's it.
maybe one paragraph.
Yep. The 10th edition stuff, like it's all really, it's very modern, it's really nicely presented, and it looks all nice and fancy, but the meat of it just ain't there. And that's just like TV shows and films and all sorts of stuff now. It's just the world seems to have turned into key jangling, shiny stuff, look, and then when you get there you're like, oh, it's just actually a bit shit.
Hey, Matt is approaching maximum Grognard. He will soon achieve his final form.
Final form. Hopefully, I'm already at it. It's like Star Trek. It looks really fancy, but it's just shit now.
Yeah, totally. There's no pride behind it. It just feels like it's kind of. Oh, that'd be amazing stuff. Splinter Rifle. Yeah, I had it, and I had it on my red shirt, which I've still got the red shirt. Do not have the Splinter Rifle pin badge anymore. But yeah, there was a certain amount of pride, and people who really liked stuff, that was coming out, and I don't know, it wasn't instantly like, oh, how good is this in the game? There was some of that, but it was like, oh, how does this inform the faction? How does this change the faction? How does this mean something? Like, you had the stage where the Tyranids, and they got rid of it because they didn't carry it out particularly well, but the Tyranids were being affected by the different races they got up against. So the Biovores were turning kind of orky. The Zoanthropes were like Eldar.
Yeah.
Tyrant Guard were like Space Marine armor, like the knitted armor.
Yeah, they kind of took influences from what they'd been fighting.
Exactly, yeah. And
they were like,
the whole idea of them evolving. And now it's all just retcons, and just we've made this new unit, and it's always been there, don't worry. And it's like, ugh.
Yeah. The only one thing that I get away with doing is the Von Ryan
Leapers, because they've been a thing mentioned way back in third.
Yeah, they were very briefly mentioned in like a little biologist tree.
That's
like
right,
where they were talking about lictors and stuff and gaunts, and then somewhere in the middle was like a little Von Ryan Leaper name label.
The new Tyranids were like the ultimate in like scraping the bottom of the barrel and stretching.
Yeah.
Like, we've come up with this whole like neuro thing which nobody's going to use.
It was crap.
Here's a psychophage which only works against psychers, and only 2/3 of the armies use psychers. And you better hope that they bring, the other guys, they bring one, because otherwise your unit's useless. And it's just like, what? Nobody takes a psychophage. Nobody takes it.
It's a horrible model anyway.
It's not.
It's literally in like 4 bits. It's not great in any way at all.
Yeah,
it's very much a disappointment. But no, the 6th edition Tau Codex was just fucking great. It looked great. It was all full color. It was a ton more pages than the old one. It updated everything. There was no 7th edition formation lol gotcha nonsense. I remember when the 7th edition Codex came out. It was decent. Like it was a decent incremental update on the 6th edition one, and the Ghost Kill to this day is a great unit.
That's still one of my favourite models in the Tau range. It's got a stupid name. I love the Ghost Kill.
Yeah, the name is nonsensical at all. What is a ghost keel? Oh no, you can't see the bottom of our ship. It's vanished. I don't. What the fuck? Who named that? It was just daft.
Especially when all
But
the
the
other ones
mod
have been named
itself
after
is
fish and
great.
stuff.
The vehicles are,
The
yeah,
vehicles named after fish.
pretty much.
You know?
Vehicles are named after fish. The suits are just named after what they actually do. So you had like stealth suits, battle suits, and then you just have crisis suits. Oh shit, it's all gone horribly wrong. Call in the crisis suits. We
And the
have a crisis.
broadside is obviously broadside of a battleship or something like that.
So that's artillery. And then you had like the XV9 hazard suit from Forge World, which was kind of like these guys have close support. Drop them in, and they'll get people out of trouble. And then you had
I love that piece of crew artwork on page 53.
Oh, some of the artwork in that is just great.
That's really nice.
Like they colorized some old stuff. Like the crew you're looking at now. I'm pretty certain that's an old picture and they just colorized it very nicely.
Right. Yeah, they did that quite a bit actually, because there's so many paintings that I didn't realize back in the day were actually color, but they just, because they printed mainly in black and white, they just grayscaled them.
Just grayscaled them. That makes a lot more sense. But the same guy who did actually no, I don't think it was the guy that did the covers. One thing I noticed for the tower especially, a lot of new stuff had the same style, so I think they had the same artist working on them, and they looked
definitely
almost comic-y but also realistic.
Yeah, I'm looking at it now,
which was very weird.
It's got a nice style,
and you can like that Farsight one, you can especially see that.
I wonder if this might be when Kevin Chin came in actually, because it reminds me of Kevin Chin's work.
Maybe I don't know. I'm not familiar with him. See, look, it's all the same style for the new stuff, and it's all so good. There's nothing crap about it whatsoever.
I don't think he's with the company anymore. Yeah, you're right. It is all the same style. Yeah, it's nice. I like it.
Yeah, they did a really good job with this codex. It was well presented. It was well put together. It was well thought out. Like there was no bullshit in it, really.
And all the
weapons
and everything, and
it was proper nice done. Everything was pretty clear and concise. But no, like I was saying, the 7th edition was a decent improvement over it. Like obviously Sickford put the work in to bring the tale back to being relevant. So 7th was only, the usual incremental that you get from one edition to the next. It introduced the Ghost Kill, which was awesome. It also unfortunately introduced the fucking Storm Surge, which is just a fucking abomination.
Yeah.
Absolute abomination. And I hate it to this day. But then on top of that, it also introduced can't remember what the rule was off the top of my head, but 7th edition introduced the special rules for detachments.
Okay, yeah.
So you'd bring along like the core detachment, and then you could bring along you basically bolted on groups of units with it.
Right, gotcha.
Which was a great idea, but unfortunately the towel one was to do with shooting stuff that had marker light tokens onto it. And it was not very clearly worded, and loads of people were like, oh lol, I've got this unit from across the battlefield shooting that thing even though I'm out of range. And it's kind of like, no, you're out of range. And they're like, no, the rule says that I can fire at it with 3 other units. But it's like, yeah, but you need to be in range. And it was the 7th edition Codex that brought all the wankers out of the woodwork, and actually made me stop playing Tau, because they got such a bad rep off it that I just was just like, no, I don't be attached to
formations. I mean, they destroyed it. Formations destroyed it absolutely. Because I still say 7th was a decent edition until basically GW worked. They could use formations to pivot sails, and now they just use detachments in exactly the same way.
6th and 7th was I think we can all agree in our group that 6th and 7th was peak 40k for us.
Yeah, I think so.
It was with some caveats. It was the absolute best, like a blend of.
Yeah, because it had been an iterated thing since 3rd. They hadn't fucked with it too much. They just changed it and fine tuned it. It wasn't broken, and they taken 4 editions to get it right.
Like they'd simplified, they'd sort of streamlined it enough to make games go fairly quick if you knew the rules, but it was still a deep enough rule set to cover a whole bunch of eventualities.
Exactly. I mean, like 2nd edition back in the day did take forever to play. I know you never played it, but it took a long time to play. And you were using a lot less stuff than you were in 6th and 7th edition. much
Yeah.
smaller armies. So yeah, there was a few exploits and things like that. I mean, if my scouts went to ground, they could get a 2+ invulnerable save kind of thing on an objective. But then I guess you just have to go in there with a flamer or something to try and shift them, or something else that
Exactly.
ignores cover. You know, there was ways round these things.
Yeah, you had tools to deal with it if you brought the right stuff.
You know, and that was only, as I say, if I had an objective game. If I had a game where I had to go forward and kill stuff, I'd be screwed. I'd be like, oh shit, I guess I'm going to use
Yeah.
my sniper rifles then. Pew pew pew.
Exactly. So it was just it was kind of a combination of luck and just generally trying to cover enough bases to still have an effective force no matter what your mission was, but you could also tangle with almost anything your mates threw at you. And it was always a bit of a balancing act, you know, with what strategy you used and what you brought with you.
Yeah, absolutely.
But no, like this was like a great codex. Like supporting fire became a thing. So that if someone charged a TAL unit, I think there was like 2 units nearby could also fire Overwatch at the same time to help out, which sounds rather OP, but then each unit can only Overwatch once per turn. So if someone declares a second charge against that unit, there's no one left to help out, and they're just like, oh, and it's still going to happen anyway. But you know, it was cool. Like vehicles became more survivable in general because back in fourth there was no hull points.
No, that's right. Yeah.
So stuff could get one-shotted.
Yes.
With a glancing
if you are
hit.
unlucky.
If you're really unlucky, yeah. So you know, with the introduction of hull points and stuff, vehicles became more survivable, and they also became a fair chunk cheaper, like in a new edition, because people wanted to bring more vehicles and Games Production wanted to sell more. So you know, that was cool. And then where are we? Yeah, so you know, jetpacks got a lot more swingy because in the previous edition, you know, they could move 6 inches, shoot, and then get a 6-inch like thrust move in the assault phase to try and get out of trouble. And in 6th edition, it became 2d6 instead of a flat 6, so it was less reliable, but also potentially better depending on how you rolled. You know, so there was ups and downsides, but I like to think that overall the edition was pretty well balanced. Like I said, you know, I'm just going through my notes now. You know, Markolites lost utility, and then they actually continued to lose utility as the editions went on because the game got more simple, and so they had less tools, you know, to do stuff because there was no more depth left in the game to actually have tools to do jobs.
Yeah, I mean, I firmly believe that a lot of the factions are just too big now. There's just too much choice, and it means all the armies just blend into each other.
Yeah.
You know, I think like the amount of units in this codex is probably around about right. Maybe just a couple more, but.
And then you look at Space Marines and you're like, Jesus.
Yeah,
like
it's just absolutely bonkers.
Take all the new ones out. Just go back to having flexible assault, tactical, and devastator squads. It'll be fine.
Exactly. It's so stupid, isn't it? It's just like, you know, these Marines, I will have them be adaptable and be able to adjust to any battle situation. Now that I've woken up from my nap, I've changed my mind and I want them to be able to do one thing and one thing only.
Yeah, well done.
Because of sales.
It's not very Marini. They're supposed to be like an elite force that drops in, gets the job done, and then moves on. So, you know, they should be reasonably flexible in the stuff that they deal with without having to lug loads of shit around with them all the time.
That's the whole idea behind them. That's why they're called tactical squads.
Well, yeah, exactly.
I've got a question from Margaret, actually, that I almost missed. Your favourite faction and why? It's going to be Tau.
Oh, what, the Tau?
Yeah.
The Tau, they're not my favourite faction.
They're not. So what is your favourite faction? Dark Angels.
Probably Dark Angels.
Yeah.
Dark Angels are my favourite faction, but the 6th edition Codex, all in all, is probably my favourite Codex.
Okay.
That's been done. Like from what we had before, like the level of improvement that it provided and how it was done and the presentation of it was just all awesome. There's like no shitness to it at all. And I think it's pretty well balanced, even though the flyers look shit. There was a bunch of new stuff. You know, it was all fairly well pointed. You know, I don't think anything was ridiculously
cheap. It seems like this is before it went completely mental kind of thing. And they started going, bigger suits, stuff.
Yeah, people love walkers, make bigger ones. That's pretty much what they did. And then there was probably people at Games Workshop that said, yeah, but then that will just make them Eldar. The Tau handles Yeah, the Tau have flyers to handle super heavies, which is why they have super heavy flyers. And they were like, "No, fuck that, just
Strip
make
their
have bigger
identity
walkers."
away. Yeah.
Exactly.
So going
Which
back
one?
to the Dark Angels, why are they your favourite? Is it the lore? Is it the characters? Is it the look of them? Do you really like green?
Uh,
Do you really like dresses?
Green is a cool color. Robes are nice and comfy, so I'll just pretend that a lot of 40k Marines from my chapter just like having smoking jackets because they're cool. Um, some of them are going to have pipes sticking out of their Mark 7 helmet grills
I see.
at the front.
Distinguished
But
gentlemen, top hats all round
exactly, you thought it's a barnacle eye. Lol, jokes on you.
with
It's
a
actually
monocle.
just a monocle. It's a 40k monocle. But I think it's down to Space Hulk got me into the hobby in the first place. It was my first proper game that I bought,
Hmm.
and that was Blood Angels, which I found interesting. But then when I got the Deathwing expansion, which covered Deathwing Terminators, I was like, "Ah, this is actually really fucking interesting." And it had, I think it was William King that wrote the original Deathwing story with Two Heads Talking and Cloud
That's
Runner and
right. Yeah.
Weasel Fierce and Lame Bear and all those
I think it
guys.
was just called
If I
Deathwing as
ever
well.
That's right. Yeah, and that is spread throughout the Deathring rulebook for that expansion, the whole story. And so I was like, this is fucking cool. There's a whole bunch of background for these. I mean, they're Native American influenced
Yeah, which is because you had
Terminators.
Grandmaster Cloud Runner and that kind of stuff, and
Yeah,
that's
which was
Two Heads Talking. That's all been stripped out now, pretty much.
pretty
You've got the
pretty much.
feathers. That's
Yeah,
about it.
yeah. Which was So that was all very left field. But I loved like because they were white Terminators back then. They weren't kind of like bone colored. They were ash white,
Yep.
and it was just great. And so I had a whole bunch of Terminators, and then when I looked into 40k proper, I saw that they had their own chapter, which wasn't called Deathwing, it was Dark Angels. And because lol, I like to be different in general, I saw that they were like a non-proper Codex chapter, and they were a nice dark green color, like British racing green. And I'm like, this is all very good, I like all of this stuff. And then I saw that they'd sort of been revamped, and all of their characters had sort of like angelic or demonic sort of like old names from the Bible, and I was like, this is
Yes. Yeah.
good
Yeah.
because I used to be a Christian. I used to waste my time going to church until I was 15. Apologies for any Christians listening. If it works for you, awesome, but it didn't work for me, so I stopped. But I was still interested in it. So a lot of different interests that I had just kind of coalesced into Dark Angels, and I was kind of like, this works for me, it's all very good. And that was pretty much it. And so they've been my guys ever since, and I play them in Heresy as well, but they're nice and black instead.
Cool.
And it's cool. I like them.
Nice. No, that's good. For me, probably Tyranids. They were my
They're probably my second.
first army way back in the day. Second edition, all metal models and stuff like that. I just
Right.
love the idea of this this relentless force. But yeah, even though they acted like locusts, there was this hive mind behind them, and they just kept adapting and adapting and adapting. And they kind of reminded me a little bit like the Borg, in that they just
Yeah.
consumed everything and took it into themselves and used it to change themselves. And I really liked that. And there was some amazing bits of artwork and story. Like the Mark Gibbons Tyranid artwork was just amazing, so good. Love the model, love the way they played in the game. Like they had like a really didn't get to use strategy cards. They got to use like you rolled on everything on a table on your opponent's
Yeah.
army to see what would happen to it.
Jones is actually strangely.
Exactly. Yeah, stuff would cause terror and fear, and you could just like ruin people. The Khan effects looked amazing. It was a bitch to put together.
The old
but it looked
the old
amazing.
Screamer Killer.
The old
The old
Screamer
metal
Killer,
one.
yeah.
Still got mine. It's up on the shelf.
I think they're probably my favourite overall, which is why it hurts so much to see what's happened to them.
They would be my second favorite, I would say, because the second game that I bought after Space Hulk was Advanced Space Crusade.
Tyranids also are the reason why I like Ultramarines.
Because of the entwined history there.
Because of the entwined history, yeah. I mean, there's two reasons. One, when I first got into 40k, I had a friend who was doing Blood Angels, Ben did Blood Angels, Rob did Dark Angels, Dan did Space Wolves. So bearing in mind there wasn't really much else going.
They were the main four, weren't it?
Yeah,
Back in the
exactly.
day.
Back then, you didn't. You could make up your own chapters, but I mean, I'd got into the game.
Yeah.
So as Ultramarines,
Salamanders were probably still black and yellow.
if they're even, yeah, I mean, they weren't probably
and Rogue
mentioned at
Trader.
all because they would be a Rogue
Yeah.
Trader thing that dropped out. And don't forget, all
Yeah.
these things had to get built back up.
Yep.
So Ultramarines was like a natural fit. And as I found out about the Ultramarines, I was like, found out they were tied into the history of the Tyranids. And I was like, oh, wow.
How could I not?
How could I not? Exactly. And I had 6,000 points of Ultramarines painted, which turned into 3,000 points of Ultramarines. And I sold them. I sold them when third edition happened, and I sold them. Times were hard. I sold them, and got screwed over in sale. And kind of regret it. I mean, to be honest, they would look like crap now, but it's nice to see where you've come from.
Yeah, I've never sold an army. I can't even consider doing it. Like,
no, I couldn't. Now.
I've put
too
much money, time, and effort into actually building an army and painting them and using them on the tabletop. I cannot. Which is probably why my room's full of so much shit now.
It's the main reason why I won't do commission painting.
Armies in cases and all sorts.
It's the main reason why I won't do commission painting, because I could be a commission painter, like not like obviously display level, but certainly good tabletop level to display level, kind of like in between those kind of things. More than just your base colours and a simple highlight. I can paint to a degree. I'd be really fucking upset if I couldn't after 30 odd years. But my painting is something I want to do to relax. It's not something I want to do to make money.
Yeah, you don't want to feel pressured into doing it. Like, you
do it. I mean, I've just sprayed up today. I just sprayed up all my Gundam assemble models. I've got 6 models, and I'm going to do all of them like the anime cell shaded style.
Okay.
So they almost look like they're 2D. So that'll be really interesting to do at that scale. So nice. Probably the next thing I paint. But yeah, probably Tyranids and Ultramarines got me into it back in the day. Everybody sort of chose their factions, and those were my two. Lee did Eldar and Chaos. Sisters of Battle came a little bit later. And yeah, each of the Space Marines ones was taken. So there was no Dark Eldar, there was no Tau, there's none of that back then.
No. Yeah.
Squats nobody was using.
No Necrons. Yeah, squats. I've still got a few metal squats knocking around. I've got like a trike. Got a trike, some of their old egg-looking exo armor.
Yeah, I think the Necrons did have some models right at the end of 2nd edition. But it was like literally like Warriors, Immortals, and I think the Destroyers.
I was about to say, wasn't it a Chaos Android? Was it?
Yeah, it was like they look more like the Chaos Androids. I've actually got upstairs a very rare. I've got a couple of things. I've got a very rare Imperial Guilders Credit metal that I got at GW one day, and I've got a 2nd edition Scarab on a dissection table.
Okay.
Knocking around somewhere. I have no idea what they are. I've got those little boxes where you have loads of different compartments.
Yeah.
I've got so many of those full of metal models. It's not true. Absolutely. Because way back in the day, like when you worked at GW, you could go to Lenton and you could buy models by the kilo. You pay for the weight of the metal.
Yeah.
And even worse than that, they take it out of your bloody wages the next month. Like, don't by paying it now, you're just eating noodles next month. Like,
that's a killer, surely. You walk out with loads of metal stuff and you're like, fuck yeah, I'm sorted. And then you get paid like half your normal amount next month and you're like, shit.
Pretty much.
Time to start eating my old shoes.
Exactly, yeah. Can't chew on the models. It's like leather back in those days.
Yeah.
But yeah, so much metal models and stuff. I played a game a good few years ago now, and I was playing against the guy, and I was like, I recognise this Tyranid model, this Tyranid army, and he was playing with my old army that I sold years ago, and I don't even think I sold it to him. So that person sold it on to somebody else, and he just turned up and was like, "There's no other bastard out there that would paint one of the old Zoanthropes orange and blue. Nobody's that crazy. Yeah. That's me. That's my model.
You're supposed to be looking after this army, and you bloody sold it to someone else, you bastard."
It got chips and everything as well. What's the rarest Warhammer 40k model that you all still own, Matt?
I'm just having a gander at my cases now. I have an Eldar Phoenix Bomber and Nightwing Interceptor.
Okay, the
I,
old Forgeware ones. Yeah, nice.
yeah, I also have a Tyrannid Demarcaron and a Scythed Hierodual.
Okay.
That,
Also,
I think
longer made.
it just comes down to Forge World or old or both.
Yeah.
I've still got like my old metal Screamer Killer, and I've got like the old waspy looking Tyrannid Warriors from Advanced Space Crusade.
Yep. I've got one of the old metal squigs back when they were Tyranids.
On the square bases, we had a load of them on one square base, like a dreadnought,
Yep.
like a dreadnought base.
I've also got, and I have never ever been able to find out where it's come from. It's a tiny metal dinosaur. Like it's like a T-Rex type thing, like a theropod, but it's quite low down to the ground. But we're talking like way predating lizard men.
Okay.
And I've never ever been able to work out what this damn thing is, but it is Citadel.
It could be.
And the only other thing is a skull.
They did Dungeons and Dragons.
I don't think they did. I mean, this would be after that. I wouldn't have think because well, would I have got it in a metal pick? I don't know. But it's like a cold one, very very low down to the ground. Quite small. It's only like about 1.5 inches long, so it's not like to scale or anything. This is before War Master, so I have absolutely no idea where it came from. But that's probably the rarest thing I own because I've never seen one since.
Weird. You have to find the most senior person at Warhammer World that you can find and just demand answers. Take it with you. What the fuck is this?
Is there
from?
anybody alive here who still knows what this is?
Yeah. I mean, what else have I got in metal? I'm sitting here looking at a half painted metal Red Terror.
Okay, yeah. That one.
I also know somewhere, I don't know where exactly, I have one of the old Imperial robots that ended up being the current Castellax.
Oh, nice.
So
Yeah,
it's an old metal Castellan robot with like 2 power fists and a heavy bolter up top. And somewhere up behind me on the shelf, I have a metal squat with a Dark Angels painted thud gun.
Okay, cool.
Which ended up servicing as a Thunderfire cannon when thud guns went in the bin.
I've probably got some other stuff knocking about in those boxes, but those are just the 2 bits that I can remember.
I've got a bunch of old metal Terminators. I've got the old Deathwing ones.
Some of the
old normal ones.
I've got the Inquisitor. Is it? There's
Possibly
a really old Inquisitor in Terminator.
They used to sell it. They used to sell them in pairs. Look, Terminators came in packs of 2, didn't they? Back then, the metal ones. And I think the Inquisitor ones were, there was an Ordo Malleus with like a Storm Bolter and like a Force Rod. He had like a hooded helmet, and then you had the other guy with the bare head, and I think he had like a Power Sword and a Storm Bolter, who was the other Inquisitor. And I had kind of like the Chaos equivalent, where I had one Chaos Terminator with an autocannon and chain fist, and then like a bald-headed respirator-wearing captain. Might have had lightning claws. I don't know. He had a power sword and again a storm bolter, I think. But the storm bolter was weird because it had magazines on the top and the bottom, from what I remember.
Okay.
So it was cool. And I used to, as part of a job lot that I got from someone I used to work with, I used to have an original Saturnine Terminator in metal. But because it was so shit, I donated it to Warhammer World for them to paint up and put in a case, and I've never fucking seen it anywhere. The bastards.
Cheeky bastards.
Yeah.
They put that in the back cupboard, and it was like, one day we'll need an idea of a new model to make, and we'll pull that out.
Yes, sorry about that. It all comes down to me. Apologies.
Yeah. I'd have to go through it all sometime and have a good look. But
yeah, I mean, I've still got my my RB01 Beaky box in plastic. They're all a weird tan coloured plastic.
I've still got where, like, the super glue really didn't react well with the plastic at all.
Yeah, they were odd. I've still got my blue Terminators and Tyranids box, which had like plastic,
I've got a load of those original dark blue Gene Stealers from Space Hulk. They were the first Citadel models I ever bought. Box of 6 Gene Stealers for $5.
Probably the same because I had Space Hulk. And they've still not changed much. Like what, 40 years later, 30 years later.
No, not really.
They're still not too different. They're just more detailed now with more options. But that was one thing that really threw me was when I went from Space Hulk Gene Stealers to looking at the actual Tyranid ones, and they had weird Scythian Talon
Yeah,
forearms,
that was weird. That was a
like
yeah.
like weird little cleavers, and I was like, "What the fuck have you done here? This is just bizarre."
They got rid of those. That was fine.
Mm.
Yeah. Oh, I've got It's not the Patriarch, but I think I've got the old Genestein Omegas. Remember, like the really old one.
Yeah, I think there was two. I think you could get one that stood next to his throne with like a handout flat where it was supposed to go on the arm of the throne.
That's the one I think I've got. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I had the old running Patriarch, which looks so small now.
Yes. Yeah. Teeny. There was
It's,
that one, and there was one in the throne, wasn't there?
that was it. Yeah, I never had the throne one, but I did end up with that Magus as well somehow. I think I must have inherited it from someone.
Did you
Um,
ever have Marnius Colgar on the bog?
no, because I didn't do Ultramarine, so
Nah.
I was saved from that. I'm just sitting here looking at what other stuff I've got in my cabinets. I've got it's mostly old Forge World stuff that you can't get anymore. I've got a couple of squadrons of heavy gun drones that I used to do for the Tau with like burst cannons on them, pair of burst cannons underneath, and some marker light ones. I've got a pair of Tetras, like the little scout vehicles that were smaller than piranhas. I've got a couple of Remora drones with like twin burst cannons on. Yeah, what else? For my Eldar, I've got like a Wasp and a Hornet and Shadow Spectres, which is still one of my favourite Aspect Warriors to this day. They were great. I don't think I've got any Forge World Necrons. No, I've only got plastics for those. I suppose Titans don't count for rare models, although I'd imagine they're quite rare.
Yeah, the old plastic, bloody Imperator and everything would do.
Oh no, I meant full scale.
Oh right. Oh, the Forge World ones. Yeah, probably not
Yeah,
so much.
because I've got a few of those, and yeah, they're going to be rare by design, but they're not as old as what people are thinking.
No.
Oh, what else? I'm sitting here looking at a couple of Metal Fiends of Slanesh as well. But the remake of those was awesome. When they redid Fiends. That was cool. Oh, there's an old gargoyle. I've got an old metal gargoyle with like the big chunky wings.
Oh yeah. I've got
and a flesh borer.
A few of those, but the metal squads or the metal troops are the most important, most expensive thing to get if you're getting old Tyranids all over again. Unfortunately.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. It sucks if you want to get back into doing that sort of thing for a particular era. But yeah.
Yeah, I'll go through it sometime, make a list. One other thing, Grognards needs to let you know, the Discord is like really close to be up and running. All I really need to do is set the rules. I've done the channels. I just need to set up some rules, which are basically going to tie into just be adults, for fuck's sake. You know, simple as that. Just be adults, be civil.
No politics. No general chat.
No politics at all.
General chat is where wrongness ferments and heresy begins. No general chat.
Like
just
I don't want to stop anybody from having conversations and stuff, but it just always goes tits up when real world politics comes into it, and that includes like fucking rainbow badges as much as it includes swastikas and all that kind of shit. Just try and keep it about your hobby, what you love about the hobby, or even if you're slagging off the other games because it's not your kind of thing, just bear in mind that it will be somebody else's kind of thing. And yeah, honestly, I just kind of expect everybody to act as adults because I don't have time to be full-time moderating anything.
No, neither of us do.
So yeah, I'm going to set it up. It's all free, no paywall or any of that bollocks. If it does go
we can get
a bit
paid
mad,
for people?
then
you can get paid?
If it does go a bit mad, then there might be like exclusive member paid bits to it, but the original Discord's always going to be like free. but like if I do any voice channels or anything like that, that might end up behind something. But yeah, Discord coming soon. This week, I imagine at some point. I've got a couple more videos to do, and I need to do something for my other channel as well. But yeah, Discord. And then for those who don't use Discord, there was a Facebook group because yay, because we're old. So yeah, as and when they're up and running, I'll put a post up on YouTube, and you guys can all see that. But,
For the really old people, we'll do a MySpace.
Oh, mate, I'll tell you what, I really wish I could get back in my MySpace. There's some pictures on there that are lost to the sands of time.
Oh,
Like a picture of me and Bruce Dickinson at Southend Airport.
Southend Airport.
Yeah,
Jeez.
he came down to see the Vulcan bomber. I ended up having a pint with him. He drinks John Smith's. Well,
Nice.
probably drinks Trooper now, but back then he drank John Smith's. But like the only version I've got now has been copied and rescaled so many times that it's just, you know, if you make it any bigger than a postage stamp, it's a blurry mess. And I'm just, oh no. So that sucks. But,
yeah, the old picture resolution, not so great.
yeah, not so much. And like, you know, it used to get like, you know, Facebook compressed the crap out of stuff anyway, so none of it looked that great. But yeah, cool. Right, we'll call it there then. And I will have the Discord up at some point this week. So jump in there, have fun. I mean, we'll like Carl's helped me set it all up and everything. We'll put some posts in to kick it all off. But kind of what I'm hoping to see like is some of your paint jobs, works in progress, all that kind of stuff. Anything related to your hobby, and start this community up, and then me and Mac like all include that and talking it in as everything as well. Because obviously we're not quite as active hobby-wise that we'd like to be. We've all got stuff going on, so it'd be great to widen the net a little bit.
I was about to say, I would have helped setting up the technical stuff, given that it's what I should be doing, but I was out playing Necromunda instead. So there,
you get, dude. If you're doing a hobby, you get a pass. Like tomorrow,
I was out winning.
I want to start these Gundams and start painting those because I've not done enough painting recently. So yeah, but yeah, cool. Right, we'll call it there, guys. Thanks very much for tuning in, as always. Have fun, and we will, see you guys soon. Bye.
Thanks. Cheerio.